What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Life's a Garden. Fresh off my trip from Las Vegas, which was an absolute blast, had an amazing time, and it's got me thinking about today's positive motivational message. And that is, enjoy. Enjoy all the beauties in life. Obviously, enjoy the big moments. Enjoy your vacations. Enjoy your time with your family. Enjoy the special events that occur in your life. But take time to enjoy the little things as well. Enjoy the sunlight. Enjoy breathing fresh air. All those little moments. The moments that you think are inconsequential or are very insignificant. They mean more than anything. Because they build up. They stack up. All these little successes. All the little pleasures in life. Build on a beautiful life. The little things make life all that much more special. So take time to recognize them. Enjoy them for what they are. All the little special moments. Everything. And when you enjoy all those things, it just makes everything that much more grand in the greater scheme. So that is today's message. We'll get into all the Vegas talk. But right now, let's hit that intro music. Because it's episode 192 of Life's a Garden. Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas! Oh yeah! Fantastic time there in Sin City. It was my mom's Christmas present. It was the Christmas present I got from my mom. Obviously, didn't want to make it immediately after Christmas so that she had time to take time off work and we had time to plan and do all the good stuff. Perfect timing. Couldn't have happened at a better time. The weather was great there. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But the weather was better than here. It was snowing here. We're still dealing with the snow, so it was nice to get out of that. Nice warm weather out there in Las Vegas. It was right after my big show, so I got to go there and kind of lay back, relax, celebrate this victory that we had recently with the band, and also didn't have to worry about the trip and then doing the show. We could focus on the show, then do the trip. So the timing of it all was really perfect. Nothing real. I was kind of hoping there'd be a UFC fight while we were down there. It was like a fight night, but I was hoping there might be a pay-per-view going on down there that we could have gone to, but the big pay-per-view is this weekend. We'll get to that later here in a second as well. I want to focus on the Vegas trip right now because that's the hot topic right now. That's the hot topic in my life. We got down there. Flight got delayed due to, I'm assuming, it was due to weather. It was actually not due to weather here. It was due to weather in Las Vegas. The flight getting here was delayed, so it obviously was delayed leaving. Because Vegas was dealing with high winds. Thankfully, it wasn't as bad as Saturday, because we left on Friday. Thankfully, it wasn't as bad as it was Saturday, because we would not have been able to fly in. It was literally 70-mile-per-hour winds. You can look them up. There's videos of rooftop cabanas just blowing away. Water, pool water sloshing around. It looked like a hurricane. And we were walking around down there, just literally at a 45-degree angle, trying to, my mom, who weighs 50 pounds, I'm surprised she didn't just fly away. But yeah, so the flight got delayed leaving, which kind of sucked because it gave us less time on Friday to do anything really. We were staying at the Mirage, first time I've ever been to the Mirage. Beautiful Beautiful hotel. I was blown away. They got this big, basically like a atrium. It's like a big dome, a big see-through dome with plants and like water running through the hotel. Super beautiful hotel. Big old like aquarium at the front desk. And super nice. Like I have nothing bad to say about the Mirage. Great staff. First night we basically just stayed at the hotel. We kind of just walked around, checked it. I can't remember. Did we eat that night? I actually don't remember. I don't remember if we ate anything that night, because that was the original plan, was to have dinner, go out for dinner somewhere, and then just hang out at the hotel, which I don't even remember if we actually ate. But we did end up going out downstairs to the hotel and just hanging out, gambling a little bit. Actually won some money on our first night. Nothing crazy. I think I ended up, because after everything I put in, I think I ended up maybe winning $60 or something like that. So, ended the night with a win. Now let me tell you something. If you're ever going down to Vegas, okay, fuck those machines. The machines are bullshit. Anytime you see a video of somebody winning on a machine, it's a fluke. It's just a random occurrence. One more. Here comes another. Oh, wait. Okay. False alarm. We're all right. I swear, coming back from that dry desert air into the Montana atmosphere has got my sinuses all confused. I've been having to take nasal spray. Yeah, it's been a journey. But anyway, the machines. Do not even try to fuck with them. Because that's what I did. Like, we mostly played machines, which originally I had intended to play more tables. But I didn't want my mom to have to like stand around and like just watch me play tables. It felt kind of rude if I was going to do that. But also, oddly enough, I kind of got a hint of social anxiety, because when you're on a table, you're dealing with people betting money. You got all these people around. You're kind of forced to interact with them. It can be a very exciting environment, but it can also be kind of a hostile environment. When people are losing money, they tend to not take that very well. Plus, in Vegas, there's so many like rules, like you can't touch the cards, which I understand all of it, but the dealers, they do not fuck around. They will get on your, don't touch the fucking cards. Like, they will straight up yell at you. And so, partially, it was due to the fact that most of the good tables were pretty well taken up at any time that I was ready to play a table. All the smaller bet tables, $15 bets, things like that. So all the other ones were like $50 a hand, $25 a hand, which nobody was sitting at those. Or if there was only a couple, but I wasn't going to play those tables. And so I ended up not playing as many tables. We mostly played the machines. And, here I am. I don't even know if I should say it, but $900 less than and that's just on gambling. That's not including the absurd amount of cost to eat and drink in Vegas, which I already knew that. I've been there before. It's like $12 just for a bottle of Coors Light. It's unbelievable. Our hotel room had a mini bar. I looked up the prices just because I knew they'd be absurd. It was like what was it? It was like $30 for like a small, one of those little small shooters of like Fireball and Tito's and whatever. Yeah, it was like $50 or $30 for one of those. $20 bottles of water. It's just crazy. The price of everything down there is crazy. I don't think we had a meal. We'd just go have a basic breakfast meal or a basic lunch. I don't think we had a single meal that costs less than $50. It's impossible. You can't do it. You can't find it. But anyway, so yeah, the machines just ate all my money. There was a few machines I'd catch a couple bonuses on that were... here's the deal. Here's the deal with machines that I gotta say. Okay, and this includes Montana machines. Any gambling machine. Okay. If you're gonna take my money, if you're just gonna like eat up all my money, at least play with me a little bit. At least put me in a bonus. Bring me back up like $20 here and there. Throw me a $5 here and there. You know, give me something. But the majority of the machines I played, it would give me like a push win every now and again. But other than that, it was just hitting the button and just eating up all my money. Just losing everything. I was furious. There was a couple machines. I hit a few decent bonuses on, and they're fun. It's at least engaging, and it's like you feel like something is happening. Even if it takes all your money. At least you feel like you got something out of it. Some of these machines just like, you get nothing. I'm not even joking. There was a machine I put $100 into. And within, not like 5 minutes, I was gone. I was doing $5 a hit. But I got nothing. It gave me nothing back. I just lost it all. It was absurd. I'm like, okay, well, there goes $100 like that. Like, you can't even give me $20 back to play a little more with? No, you're just going to eat it all. And the biggest thing, because you're thinking, okay, maybe I just had a string of bad luck, right? Maybe I was just unlucky this trip. We went to at least 8 hotels, walking through all the casinos. We didn't, like, I maybe put in a 20 or so at every casino, just to say I gambled at each casino. But there was not one time walking through those casinos that we heard anybody get excited, shouting and hollering, and you didn't see a machine just like throwing up the coins. And if you did, it was maybe for like a $20 win. It was nothing special. Nobody was like, oh my God, I just hit the jackpot. Nobody hit no $30,000 jackpots. Nobody even hit for like $10,000. There was no big wins. The only time you heard somebody get excited was on a live table. Because those are where the money's made. And it's where things are exciting and fun. Because you're engaged. There's human interaction. So if you have a plan to go to Vegas, take my advice, play the tables. Fuck those machines. If you want to throw a 20 in, be my guest. But those machines are an absolute joke. They are rigged to win. You're never going to win on them. Once in a blue moon, somebody hits a jackpot. Somebody's already put so much money into that thing. It's just so sickening. And it's always dumb luck if you hit those jackpots. It's just a lucky break. It's not like you did anything special. You just got lucky. Nobody was winning in Vegas when we were there. But anyway, the gambling aside, we walked down the strip on Saturday. We went to Caesars. We went to the Bellagio. We watched the fountains at the Bellagio later in the trip, which was cool. We basically did all the main touristy things. We ended up going to the New York, and I put a little sports bet down. Was this close? I had I ended up doing 3 sports bets on... because I figured if I'm going to gamble, I should at least dabble in some other things. If I'm not going to play all the tables, let me at least do a little sports betting, which I enjoy doing anyway. 3 sports bets on the UFC fights, the fight night that was going on. And lost all 3. Crazy, huh? You know, like, crazy that I would lose in Vegas, but also that I would lose a sports bet, which every now and again, I'll get lucky on those, but my record lately is not great. So we're looking for the fights because we want to sit down and watch them. And the one sports bar, there was literally a sports bar in the New York that the slogan was all sports all the time, and they had 1 million fucking TVs all over the place. And I asked, "You guys gonna show the UFC fights?" And they're like, "We were showing them earlier, but I don't think. Yeah, it looks like we're not showing them anymore." I'm like, well, it's not a pay-per-view. It's a free fight. And they're happening like 5 miles from here. They're happening in Vegas. So why are we not showing them? So I end up having to pull it up on my phone. We're watching it on my phone at the table when there's 100 TVs showing like They were showing Japanese game shows. They were showing cricket. They were showing horse racing. They had everything under the sun going on. And granted, there was NHL hockey going on. There was NBA basketball going on. There was major sports here going on. And they're showing all this other bullshit as well. And you can't show me a UFC fight that is like the most famous sport in Las Vegas? Here's the real kicker. Here's the thing that pissed me off the most. They ended up putting it on. So they were acting like they couldn't show it. And then right before the main event, they put it on the TV. I'm like, so I'm sitting here wasting battery on my phone. And you could have been showing it the whole time. Water under the bridge. It's not going to ruin my day. We end up making our way back to the hotel. We had to get an Uber because trust me, dude, it is a long walk from hotel to hotel. And I told my mom that, but she was getting exhausted, so we ended up going back to the hotel. I think we ended up taking a little nap. Did we? Was that the day we took a nap? Or was it Sunday? Sunday was the day we took the nap. Because Saturday we were exhausted. The Denver Nuggets were playing that night, so I ended up going down to... My mom hung out in the hotel. I think she took a nap. I went down and watched the Nuggets game at this bar. She ended up coming down and meeting me about halftime. And at this point, this is a long day. And I've been drinking all day. At this point, I'm starting to feel pretty good, right? I'm starting to get a little excited. The Nuggets are winning. They're playing the Lakers. I absolutely hate the Lakers. LeBron James scores his 40,000th point, and that's all they can talk about. Fuck the defending champion Denver Nuggets. Who gives a fuck about them? All that matters in this moment is LeBron James scoring his 40,000th point. Well, guess what? The Denver Nuggets end up winning. We are currently on an 8-game winning streak against lame Bron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. And so I'm getting a little excited. There's some Lakers fans just like a reach away from us. They're like 2 seats down. And I'm just like, fuck LeBron James. Fuck him. Lame brain James. Congrats on 40,000. Congrats on the 40,000. How about a win, you fucking loser? This is the type of stuff I'm saying. And my mom's like, hey, quiet down. I think there might be some people here that like him. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. And you could tell that here in my brain, as I recall it, I wasn't being that obnoxious. I wasn't being that loud and boisterous. I was kind of just saying it for my mom to hear. But in retrospect, it probably was a little bit more than I recall, because the bartender comes over with a glass of water and subtly kind of makes the hint that, hey, that you might be a little drunk. Well, after that, we end up going to the Cirque du Soleil show in the Mirage, which is the Beatles' Cirque du Soleil show. And dude, let me tell you, I don't think we could have picked a better show, to be honest. It was the one in the hotel, so I'm like, okay, this is convenient, this is close. We were looking at magic shows, we were looking at some concerts, we were looking at just different options. And finally, we just settled on the Cirque du Soleil show. I'm like, this is very Vegas. This is a very Vegas-y thing to do. So why not? Why not do that? And first of all, they were expensive. They were not cheap. Just like everything in Vegas, right? Well, we ended up buying $75 tickets at the top. They were in the upper deck of this theater. So we go to sit in our seats, and the usher says, we're going to upgrade you to the lower seating because we didn't sell enough tickets. So we want to fill out the bottom arena, or the bottom theater. We're like, well, shit, all right. We got front row in the middle ring of the theater. Those were like $200 tickets that I got for $75. It was incredible. So we had great view. The production of these Cirque du Soleil shows is unbelievable. I was blown out of the water. Okay? The stage would move up and down, and they would have different. They had things that would drop from the ceiling. They made like a ramp that they were skating on. Cars were coming out onto the stage. They had this point when they had this giant sheet that came over the crowd where we could like touch it. It was literally like an acid trip. It was unbelievable. And there's acrobatics and they're jumping around. It's dancing. It's a whole lot of stuff. It was just excitement, boom, like nonstop. And Mom really enjoyed that. So that was a great time. I'm so glad that we went and did that. It really was a nice little extra thing that we got to do besides walking around and gambling and looking at the hotels and doing all that. Next day, we're both hurting. We're both feeling it. We're exhausted from walking. I'm hungover as shit. So we got the day started pretty slow. We were kind of just chilling. We ended up going to a couple more hotels. We went to the Treasure Island. We went to the Venetian, which is my favorite hotel. I just love the architecture and all the shit that's the Venetian. It's beautiful. And so we just kind of walked around a little more, ended up going back to the hotel, taking a nap, which was a lifesaver. Then at night, we go down to Fremont Street, which I forgot. It's been 5 years since I've been to Vegas last. Maybe even more. Might even be like 6 years. I forgot how much fun Fremont Street is. Next time I go to Vegas, rather than staying on the Strip, I'm staying on Fremont. And I'll go down to the Strip for a day. But I'm spending most of my time at Fremont. It's just an absolute party. Wall to wall, nonstop. They got bars right there on the street. It's like a walking street. They got 3 different stages with music going on them. One was like a DJ show. One was like an 80s band. The other one was like Latin music. You got the big LED board that goes across the top. It's and every single bar, every single casino is just as cool as the Strip ones. The Strip ones are very fancy. They're very like over the top bougie. And the ones on Fremont are like they're more grungy, they're still classy, but they're old school classy. The D, dude, that was my favorite place that we went. There's girls dancing up on the by the tables. Every single card girl is smoking hot. Like, on the Strip, let me tell you, on the Strip, a lot of ugly people. Just a lot of either regular people or a lot of just not good looking people. I was stunned. I'm expecting just like babes everywhere. I'm expecting like dudes in suits, and don't get me wrong, there was a few. There was not zero. But the majority were just trolls, right? We're looking at like a lot of warlocks out here. I go to Fremont, asses everywhere. Because you got the street performers, there's all the girls that are wearing like halfway nothing. There's the dudes, like the Thunder from Down Under dudes with the cowboy hats, and they're just jacked. Now, granted, I will say this on Fremont, you get a lot more like bums and like, I'd say the ratio, like you get the worst looking people on Fremont, but you also get the best. Where on the Strip, it's a lot of just mid-tier people. And so we're walking through the D, and it's just like I said, gorgeous girls everywhere. And all the tables are just full because it's $2 tables, $10 tables, way more affordable. This is the one place I ended up playing a table. I hopped down on a $25 table, which, I said I wasn't going to do, but it was an open table. Nobody was sitting there. In retrospect, I probably should have sat down at like a $5 table or something like that. I would have made more out of my money. I throw 100 down, but I sat there for a good while. I've sat, and a couple of gentlemen sat down with me. We're talking, we're having a good time. And it didn't take super long, so Mom didn't have to stand there like I didn't want. I didn't want her to have to stand there. But I ended up winning a little bit here and there. And that was the best time I had, was playing that 5 to 10 minutes on that table. It was the best time I had gambling. And of course, it was the last day we were there. And I was basically out of money at that point. So looking back, tables on Fremont, that's where I'm playing, because I'm staying on Fremont. It's a great time. And it's way cheaper I had a beer this big. It was $12, but that's the same price as a bottle of beer, and it was probably like 2 or 3 bottles of beer in that glass. So you can drink cheaper. Everything is just way nice. It's the best, and it's not even that far from the Strip. You can take an Uber, and you're there in 10 minutes. So those are my recommendations. Stay on Fremont Street, and don't play the fucking machines. Waste of time. Waste of time and money. Play the tables. Way more fun. So then, that was basically the trip, man. Like, Mom had a great time. She really enjoyed herself. I'm glad. I mean, it was a Christmas present, so I'm glad that she had a good time. The flights were super easy. Everything went smooth. No hiccups in the trip at all. So, besides the delay, but other than that, and losing the $900. But here's the thing: don't gamble what you can't lose. I've been saving that money up for a while, knowing that I was going to gamble it. It's not like I pulled $900 out of my checking account and then just blew it. I was setting that aside. I knew that what I was going to do with it, right? I knew I had a potential to lose it all, and I did. But we had fun. We had a good time. She played a couple machines too. We were playing machines together. So that was the other reason we ended up playing a lot of machines, is so that we could both sit and enjoy them. She knows the machines more than the tables, so at least it was something she could do with me. Whereas the tables she would have just had to stand there and watch, which I didn't want. I didn't want to do that to her. So it all worked out. Everything was good. And that's that. And then we got a big UFC fight this weekend. UFC 299. Sugar Sean O'Malley. See, that's I got to rep the UFC this week because Vegas and the UFC fights. We got our Montana boy Sugar Sean O'Malley defending his bantamweight title against Marlon Cheeto Vera. Of course I'm going to go for Sugar Sean. I got Sean winning it. Cheeto's no joke. Cheeto can surprise you, but I think Sean is just that much faster. If you look at the Corey Sandhagen fight against Marlon Vera, I think Sean just needs to replicate that. While Sandhagen had a lot of good wrestling and a lot of good ground fighting, I think Sean's just fast. Sean's just too fast, and I think Cheeto doesn't start fast. He really hits his stride in the 3rd and 4th round, and I think that's going to be too late. I don't know if it's going to end by knockout. I would guess by decision. It could end by technical knockout if he's just taking too much damage. But here's the thing: Cheeto can always pull out a nuke. So no guarantees in this fight. It's a stacked fucking card. I was looking at the card earlier, literally from the first prelim. Now the early prelims are whatever, but from the first prelim to the main event, this is a absolute banger of a card. Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint Denis. That should be a great fight. Saint Denis is an up and coming great fighter, and Poirier is just like a juggernaut at the top. I have no idea how this is going to end up, but I'm going to go with Poirier. I know Poirier. I think he's a great, I've seen him. I don't know him personally. I wish I did. But, he's an absolute monster. He's older, but he's the American fighter. I got to root for him. We got Michael Venom Page making his UFC debut against Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland is the guy. He's been in the UFC. He's taken on some real tough competitors. He's not afraid of anything. Michael Venom Page. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. Caught it right out of the corner of my eye. Michael Venom Page, who was God damn it. A champion with Bellator for a long time. Has some highlight real knockouts. Great kickboxer. I think he's too old. I think he's been inactive for a long time. I think he's reached that age where the decline starts, and Kevin Holland is an absolute monster. So I think Kevin Holland gets it done. And then I could go through the whole card. It's an absolute phenomenal card. Can't wait to watch it. It's going to be just fantastic. So, very excited for that coming up. The Montana boy, Sugar Sean, You know where I'm going to be. I'm going to be down at Hooligans watching the fights. It's going to be a great time. Now, another thing I forgot to mention about the Vegas trip. Your boy's back. Last week I told you I was going to have to stop I was off the Zen train because it was giving me sores. Bro, Zen City. We were in Zen City. I knew once I started drinking and gambling, I was going to want to pop a couple Zennies in, start feeling that buzz. And we're all good. No issues, no sores, no nothing. We're back. We went to Zen City, and now we're back on the train. So, I even smoked a couple cigars while I was down there. Great time. Mom was so surprised that we could smoke wherever we wanted. Like, if you're walking through the hotel, you can just, like, she was just vaping, but she was like, gosh, I keep forgetting I can vape in here. It is a little misleading in a way, because you're not supposed to smoke or vape in restaurants or your room, but you can just, like, smoke in the hotels, like in the casinos. It's kind of odd. You can drink on the streets. You can obviously smoke wherever. It's a little crazy. And dude, I will say this. Thinking about like how many people are probably ashing on the streets and probably spilling beers and throwing up on the floor in the hotels and things like that. It is immaculately clean. Everywhere. Everywhere is just spotless clean. So kudos to all the people that work there. We were thinking about it. Can you imagine how many people have to work at each of those giant hotels in order to keep it the way it is, as far as cleaning it, all the bartenders, all the restaurant workers, all the maids, the room cleaners. I don't know if maid is a proper term anymore. It's crazy. We thought about how many rooms are in the Mirage. I mean, I'm sure you could look up the actual number, but based on how many rooms were on our floor and how many floors there were, I think it was over 2,000 rooms. That's unbelievable. Think about that many people. Think about how much money is just floating in one hotel. And there's so many of them. Think about the amount of money just flowing through those hotels. It's crazy. And like I said, that's not just for gambling. That's the cost of everything. It's just outrageous. I was actually shocked at how little I spent on my card, to be honest. I thought I would have spent more with as much as we were drinking or I was drinking and we were eating and stuff like that. So it actually wasn't that absurd in the end. But anyway, moving on to let's move off Vegas. We talked a lot about Vegas. It was a great time. I was very happy with it. I enjoyed it. And it's just nice. It's something that me and Mom can reflect on, and I'm glad that I got to give her that experience. So that was very enjoyable for me. Madam Web, the latest installment in the new Spider-Man verse of Sony. I could tell you this. I knew this shit was gonna bomb immediately. First of all, if you're not a heavy Spider-Man fan, if you're not like involved in Spider-Man, you probably have no idea who Madam Web is. You probably have no idea the story arc of Madam Web. And yet they decided to do it as a solo movie. Now, the Venom movies, I understand. That makes sense. I think people would be interested in that. And clearly they are. They've made sequels. I don't know what the fuck this Sony Spider-Verse is thinking, but they have not done a single thing correct. Let me just say that. The one thing that they have done correctly is partnered with the MCU, allowed Spider-Man to be in the MCU, and then do the crossover with Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. That was the most brilliant thing they could have ever done, because it made Spider-Man hot again. Because before, like with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was classic until they fucked it up. And then the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man just never gained any traction, even though there are some like bright spots with it. And now that they've hyped up, they got Spider-Man hot again with the MCU, Now they're doing all these random spin-off stories. Venom, which makes, like, Venom it's a smart move because you can tie it into Spider-Man. Morbius? Who? I'm a big comic book guy. Like, I would say I'm above average. I'm not a monstrous comic book guy, but I'm above the average comic book guy out there. And I didn't know who fucking Morbius was until they started talking about him. I had no clue. That's the guy you want to make a movie about? Bombed. Absolutely bombed. On the docket, they got Kraven the Hunter. Again, one of the most middle-of-the-road Spider-Man villains you could do. Rather than doing a Doc Ock movie, or a Green Goblin movie, or a Hobgoblin movie, Scorpion, Mysterio, there are an absolute plethora of Spider-Man villains you could do. And you chose to do Kraven? But we're not talking about those movies. We're talking about Madam Web. First of all, they got the most uninspiring cast to play these characters. Like, Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney, I'm thinking like, okay, Sydney Sweeney, yeah, she's hot. Dakota Johnson is the most bland actress that I could ever think of. Like, she's good in, like, artsy films and in, like, drama films. You want her to play a superhero-ish? And by the way, I can already tell they've absolutely butchered the actual story of Madam Web. I can just tell by the trailer that they aren't doing it properly. But here's the real thing, okay? Here's the real thing. And I might catch some flack for this, okay? I really might. And I apologize ahead of time if this upsets you, but I'm only speaking facts here, okay? I'm just speaking the truth. The real reason I knew this movie was going to bomb, aside from the fact that Sony is making it, and they've proven even the Venom movies weren't great. They were fine. I watched them, and they were good. They were okay, but they were not great. The real reason I knew this movie was going to bomb, an all-female cast. I'm sorry if that strikes a nerve. There's nothing wrong with an all-female cast. It can, like, you can find success in an all-female cast. Bridesmaids, fantastic movie. Sex and the City, a TV series, but it was a movie as well. You know, there's a place for these movies. They're called rom-coms. They're called dramas. They're called, you know, you can do it. Female leads, you can do it. You can do an all-female cast. You know where it doesn't work? Action movies and sci-fi movies. Because that's not the genre that's not a female-led genre. Look at like the Charlie's Angels remake. Look at when they did Ghostbusters as an all-female cast. Look at what anytime they've tried to do this shit. Look at even the Marvel movies. Marvel they have done so well at making superhero movies. And they've casted them well, they've directed them well. They obviously, like, it's one of the biggest franchises in all of cinema, right? They've proven that they can make a great movie. Captain Marvel is rated as one of the worst movies that they've ever done. Even if it was like a decent box office draw, the fan reaction is not great. And I didn't think it was a bad movie, personally. I actually didn't think it was, I thought it was fairly well done. But it just, nobody's interested. Right? Black Widow, I thought Black Widow was a great movie. But the reason it worked was because they built her up. She was a character that we already had, like, been built up to know. Right? So people were actually kind of interested in that. Nobody knows who Madam Web is. The casual fan has no clue who Madam Web is. And yet you're going to make a feature-length film about her. It makes no sense. No sense at all. And so... sorry. Yeah, of course it failed. Of course it failed. And in addition to people not wanting to see an all-female action movie, because... And I can only speculate as to why this is. One, I don't think a lot of guys really care. You know? Guys don't really care about female action heroes. Because A, it feels semi-unrealistic. And B, it's I don't know. It's some psychology in there. There's some psychological thing with guys and like female superheroes and here's the thing. I'm not against female superheroes. Ripley from Alien, there's a way to do it properly, right? There's a way to do it the right way. Ripley from Alien, amazing. The Underworld franchise, so good. So you can do it. Don't think that I'm just completely poo-pooing all over women here. You can do it. But it's like the main thing, the real problem here is women aren't going to watch these movies. They don't care about action. Like some of them do, but the majority of women aren't going to go see Madam Web. They don't care. And you think you're going to draw a male audience into that? Really? They don't even want to go... They're not going to go see Kraven the Hunter. You think a male audience is going to go see that shit? No. A male audience didn't go see Morbius. So you think a male audience is going to go see Madam Web? Give me a break. Women aren't going to go see that shit. They didn't go see Charlie's Angels because they don't care. Bridesmaids was successful because women went to see it. And so did men. Because it works in that category. It's a comedy. You can pull that off. It doesn't work. Like, look when they did the all-female Ocean's 11, right? That didn't work because it's not the genre. It doesn't match. This is the same reason why women's sports doesn't really... It's not at the same level, right? There's always been this talk as to why, you know, women's basketball it doesn't get the recognition it deserves, or women's soccer, like the women's soccer team won the national championship and yet they still are underpaid compared to the men. Yeah, because they don't get the viewership. Because sports is primarily a male dominated area. Men tend to watch sports. Now, I will give credit to women's basketball for raising the bar and getting a little bit more notoriety and starting to be a little bit more noticeable. But it will never be on the same level as the NBA. It's just not gonna happen. Unless they figure out a way to make it more exciting by lowering the rim so that these chicks can dunk and do more exciting shit. I get why they don't, you know? I get it. I get why they don't lower the rim and whatnot. That's fine. But it's just never going to be as exciting. It's never going to be as dominant. You're not going to see the flashy dunks. You're not going to see the 100+ point games. It's just not there. It's not going to happen. So therefore, people don't want to watch, right? No, you don't want to watch a game with 100 layups in a game, or a field goal percentage of 35. That's not exciting. That's not exciting basketball. So, it's the exact same reason why women's sports just doesn't... I mean, look, here's an example. The whole deal with... during the NBA All-Star game, they tried to do this little promotional deal where it was Steph Curry and... I don't honestly remember her name. I feel bad. But she's a really, really good 3-point shooter in women's basketball. And they had them compete head to head in a 3-point contest. Guess who won? Surprise, surprise. Here's the thing. And I'm not throwing shade at her. Fuck, she'd fuck me up. I believe she's an absolute dominant three-point shooter. But you put her up against, statistically, the greatest three-point shooter in the history of mankind. What did you think was gonna fucking happen? Right? It's just, it's and here's the other thing. So Caitlin Clark, she plays for the Iowa Hawkeyes. She's a college basketball player. And she just surpassed Pete Maravich as the all-time leading scorer in NCAA history, Division I. That includes men. That is an absolute impressive accomplishment, right? It's unbelievable. She single-handedly is making women's basketball a little bit more exciting. And there's journalists out here that are shitting on her. Let me preface this. There are female journalists, or maybe not a ton, but I've seen a couple that are trying to discredit her accomplishments in the sport because she's white. What an absolute conflict of, like, you're destroying one. You're trying to destroy one area that you're trying to uplift because of another, right? Because she's a woman, she's making women's basketball more exciting, but you can't handle that because she's white. Because, you want to give credit to Brittany Griner and Sue Bird and all these other. I think Sue Bird's white too, though. I don't know. But, you want to try and give credit to all these. There's these two minority groups that you want to upraise, but you can't have one without the other. Like, there has to be. There's no leeway there. They're trying to say because of the COVID year or something like that, or because she played an extra year. I don't remember. They were trying to, like, discredit her scoring title for something. And it's like, just be happy for her. Just be happy that she's making a name in this sport that nobody fucking cares about. She's raising the bar. She's making them more exciting, right? So what are we getting all upset about? And then, speaking of being upset, baseball. So baseball, another game that nobody gives a fuck about. They were changing the uniforms around, and the pants were see-through. So all these baseball players were up in arms because their pants were see-through. And it's like, wait, everybody's just got to bitch about something, right? Everybody's got to have something to complain about. And the reason nobody gives a shit about this, A, because they're men, and B, because it's baseball. Now, let me tell you something. If those see-through pants, now, obviously it's a uniform malfunction. It probably wasn't meant to be that way. But if that particular uniform malfunction happened in a women's sport, it would be the absolute most absurd thing that anybody's ever talked about. It would be the biggest uproar. Everybody would be so upset and so freaked out that how could this possibly happen? But, what would happen? I bet those sports would get a lot more viewership. You make the women's uniform see-through? Hey, guarantee you, viewership goes up 1,000%. So how do you like them apples? Yep. So yeah, I'm sure I just gained a whole lot of female fans there. But it's the facts, man. It really is. I'm only speaking truth. Michael Porter Jr., player for the Denver Nuggets, he got a whole bunch of shit for saying, like, he was praising women's basketball, right? And listen to me. Let me make this very clear. I'm not discrediting them at all. They are tremendous athletes. They can do way more than I can do, way more than the average person can do. They are phenomenal. It's just not, like, if you want to have, here's the thing. If you want them to get more viewership, if you want them to make more money, if you think they deserve the money, if you think they deserve the viewership and the promotions and all that shit, you know what you need to have happen? You need women to start watching it. You need women to start supporting it. And the thing that pisses me off the most is all these women shouting from the rooftop, we need you to watch, like, all these men need to start supporting women's basketball. They need to start, they're wanting all the NBA players to talk about it and promote it, which they have been. But they're griping about men not watching the WNBA when they're not watching it either. Women make up half the population. If you want it to be popular, have the women watch it. Bottom line. I'm sure some men will watch it as well. Just like some women watch the NBA. You need to do your part to make your sport more popular. Sorry. Don't blame it on society being sexist. Blame it on the women that aren't watching it because they don't care about sports like men do. Simple as that. Simple as that. And here's the thing too. Here's a great example actually. I don't watch WNBA because I don't find it exciting. I don't find it fun. It's not intriguing to me. Same with baseball, a men's sport. I don't watch baseball. I'm bored by it. Women's UFC, I absolutely love it. I think it's incredible. I think some of the women put on better fights, maybe not better fights than the men, but they put on amazing fights, very memorable fights. I absolutely love watching women's MMA. You know why? It's exciting. Why do you think women's gymnastics is so popular in the Olympics? Because it's exciting. It's incredible. The things they're doing are unbelievable to watch. They're doing really exciting, crazy shit. So it's fun to watch. WNBA, it's not exciting. It's boring. If you want it to be popular, great. Watch it. Ladies, go watch it. Women's soccer, go watch it. That's the thing. Nobody gives a fuck. That's why it's not popular. Just like Madam Web. Nobody gave a fuck. Nobody wants to watch it. It's boring. And you can blame Sony Studios for all that shit too. Sony is absolutely just like besides Spider-Verse, which is separate from this other thing they're doing, the live action stuff they're doing. It's garbage. They have no direction in what they're doing. And I have a gut feeling Venom 3 is going to be really bad. I just have a gut feeling. Because Sony has not been able to make a trilogy whatsoever. Well, let's end off this episode by talking about, y'all see Wendy's. Wendy's is trying to, speaking of women just fucking shit up, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it was Wendy's fault. It was the mascot's fault. No, Wendy's tried to implement surge pricing. I think they tried because I think they realized it was an absolute mistake because people were, the amount of backlash that was coming on this. I think they tried it for a short time and then did away with it. They were going to start surge pricing. So, busy times like lunch hour and dinner hour, prices were going to be normal. And then slow times, like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, were going to be, they were going to raise the prices of items. How is that good business? How does that make any fucking sense? First of all, don't you think you'd want to raise the prices during lunchtime and dinner time because those are the times people have to go eat? Those are the times people want to go eat? Maybe that was the case. Maybe I got that backwards. Maybe they were going to raise the prices during peak hours, which is just crazy. Like, the problem with that is every fast food restaurant is by 18 other fast food restaurants. So you have options. If you don't want to go pay the surge prices at Wendy's, you're just going to go to McDonald's. You're just going to go over to Taco Bell. You're going to go to Dairy Queen. There's all these other options. It doesn't make any sense why they would do such a thing. And of course, the American people, they like to kill themselves on a budget. They don't want to. We're not out here trying to kill ourselves and eat your poison, and also go bankrupt. So we're gonna go get the poison somewhere else. We're gonna go buy that poison for a discounted price on the dollar menu. Which doesn't exist anymore. Also, but yeah, no, we don't want to. We don't want to eat the poison and go broke. So that's the whole point of fast food, is to be cheaper. You're going to throw this surge pricing bullshit at us? The outrage, the absolute outrage from the public was enough to, I think, make them not do it anymore. So, good on them. Congratulations. Very happy for the American public to really, really stick it to the man. Or as we should say, stick it to the woman. Stick it to Wendy. As I've basically done this whole episode. We should just call this episode Sexist and the City. And I honestly, because I brought up Sex and the City earlier, I honestly would call the episode that if I didn't already call an episode Sex and the Silly. I fucked it up. And I would call the episode Zin City, but I already called an episode, I used Zin in one of my other episode titles. I don't remember what I worded it, but see, so I'm out of episode title names. I don't know what to call this episode. What do I call it? Oh, I forgot to mention too. Speaking of amazing branding by food companies, take a look at this shit. Are you kidding me right now? I haven't eaten Reese's Puffs in 10 years. I was walking through the store. This caught my eye. I'm a Reese's Puff boy all of a sudden. I immediately threw this in my cart. You put Goku on the box of Reese's Puffs? We got Piccolo on the back? You're going to put Goku as your spokesperson? Brother. I'm getting diabetes tonight. Like, I'm not even joking. When I'm done recording this, I'm cracking the top of this bad boy and I'm getting me a bowl of this. I mean, you should know by now. I mean, I got Goku sitting right there. I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z nerd. They could not have found a better spokesperson to get me to buy their product. You put Goku on anything, I'm buying it. You put Goku on a Maserati, I'll pay it. I'm going bankrupt just to buy the Maserati. Like, you want to put Goku on the cover of Reese's Puffs. Reese's Puffs, Reese's Puffs. Peanut butter chocolate flavor. You guys remember that commercial? How couldn't you? Greatest beat in a greatest song, I should say, in a cereal ad I've ever seen. If you ask me. All right, we're getting off the rails here. We're talking about Reese's Puffs. We're talking about Wendy's. It's getting a little too much here. So with that, we're going to wrap this bad boy up. Thank you all so much for watching. If you haven't yet, please like, share, subscribe, follow on all platforms. Spotify, Apple Podcast, you name it. YouTube, we're everywhere. Enjoy the little things. Enjoy the big things, for sure. But make sure you enjoy the little things as well. Because the little things build up to big things. And it makes everything just that much sweeter. Women, go support your own sports. Don't fucking tell me to support your sports. You go support them. And they might get a little bit more popular, you know? And if you're going to Vegas, stay away from the machines. But most importantly, don't forget, life's a garden. Dig it. Just gotta keep on